Hi everyone, welcome to the midterm exam review. I wanted to go over about 18 questions with you all, and each question will be about 90 seconds. We have about 18 questions to go over. With each one, I'll go short solution, short concept to go over everything. So, starting with this problem here, we already saw this once or twice, but I wanted to come back to it because it makes a lot of sense to come back to it. So with the bond mechanics, with the extinguishment question, the idea is how much, first of all, how much how much are you buying the bonds back for? The question is asking us that we bought bonds back at 103. So it's 2 million times 103 is how much we're paying for it. I'm sorry, that's how much it was issued for. And we're buying back 40% of the bonds, which is the 800,000, and we're buying them back at 98. So how much we paid for it is 800 times 0.98. Now the question is, what is the premium, what is the carrying value of the bond at the time of this acquisition? And then we learned that that's going to be 2,053,000 because we amortize a piece of it. And we multiply this by 40%. And the result that we get, we just compare to the number, the product of this. So at the end we get 37,200. Moving on to interest expense and effective interest method example, what I wanted to go over here is we have a bond that's being sold for this carrying amount, and we want to know what's the interest expense for 2012. So the first thing we do, we want to multiply this by the yield, or by half of it, right? And then once we multiply this by the yield and half of it, we get the initial interest expense. That's number one. That's for 6 months. And then the next 6 months, we would have to add into this the amortization. And the amortization, as we saw a couple times already, that's basically the product of this less the product of this times 1/2. That's going to be our amortization. We add our amortization to this piece. Whatever we get here, we multiply again by half the yield, by 6%. And the answer we end up by summing 1 and 2 is 167,255. B. Now moving on to interest equation. What is the interest expense equation? It keeps coming up all the time. What we have here is, what is the effective interest method? So to know this, you really want to know what is the stated rate or nominal rate. This is the coupon rate essentially, and the face value of the bond, that's par value, so we know it's not that. The market rate of interest multiplied by the face value, the market rate is the right rate, but the face value, that's the wrong amount because that's par. Stated rate multiplied by the beginning of the period carrying amount of the bond, it is the beginning period carrying amount of the bonds, that's what we always use, but it's not the stated rate, it's actually the market rate. So if you look at market rate multiplied by the beginning of the period carrying amount, then that always gives you the actual interest expense. Interest journal entry. This company issued a bond, and now we're asking, what is the journal entry regarding this bond issue? So the question is, what do we record as a journal? So we know we have 2,080,000 because that's being issued at 104. So you know that we're going to have that as coming in as cash. And what are we going to have on the right side is bonds payable, always equal to the par value. Always equal to the par value. Bonds payable come back at what they were issued, at what the face value is. The rest has to go to premium, right? Why does it go to premium? Well, because if we had 2080 on the left side, we're going to have 2,000, right, bonds payable on the right side, and to equalize 80,000 to premium, right?